Judgey. What's gonna happen to Judgey? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. We made it. I don't know what that means exactly, but here we are. We made it to 2022, and I just hope that you and yours had a very happy holiday season and got to ring in the new year with some really good friends, family, and just had a blast. Yeah, I took some time off. I hope you did too. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I did kind of fall off the grid just a little bit. You know, I posted here and there on Instagram sharing what I've been up to craft-wise and life-wise, but for the most part, I did absolutely no work. I just disconnected, and I highly recommend it, my friends. It was just so good not to worry about work, not to worry about emails, or just take a break to do absolutely nothing but knit and craft my heart out. It was glorious. For the most part, we stayed home. We were planning, you know, because Dennis doesn't celebrate Christmas and I don't really get to see family over the holidays by choice. We were planning to get out of town, maybe, you know, spend the weekend somewhere, just, you know, to get out of Dodge as we usually do for the holidays. But with all this Omicron stuff going around, you know, we decided to stay put. But that meant that, you know, I just got to focus more time on knitting and crafting. I got so much crafting done over this break. I've got a lot to catch you up on. And I mean, that's the beautiful thing about taking long breaks, just checking out, falling off the grid. It gives you a chance to, you know, just clear your mind, relax, think of nothing, and, you know, just let the creative juices marinate and just, I don't know, but I have all these ideas, I have all these plans now, and I have, again, so much to share with you. I'm super excited, so gather around, grab a cup of something, and let's get into things. Works in progress. You know, I was hoping to have a finished object to share with you this week. I came so close because, yeah, and I feel like I only shared this project off once on like in the last episode. That was the only other time that I showed progress on it. But my Calla shawl, my friends, I'm binding off. I am binding off. I know, who am I? But look at this thing. It is massive. Again, I was hoping to have it at least bound off before recording, but didn't happen, wasn't in the cards. But yeah, for the most part, over the break, I've just been plugging away at this, knitting my heart out on it, all while re-listening to the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. My gosh, guys. Yeah, if you're not familiar, A Court of Thorns and Roses is a series by Sarah J. Maas. I fell so in love with this series, I want to say 2-3 years ago. Seriously, one of my favorite books of all time. And I was chatting over on, if you're a member of this channel, you caught wind of my Monday Waffle, which is a bonus vlog that I publish every Monday, just kind of catching you guys up on what I got up to over the weekend, craft-wise and life-wise. And I mentioned that A Court of Thorns and Roses is basically my Harry Potter. For some reason, I never got into Harry Potter. It's just not my jam. I never connected with it. But A Court of Thorns and Roses is my Harry Potter. It's every year I just have to re-listen to it, and it just never gets old. I just pick up on so many new details and nuances, and just her writing is just genius. Anyway, I'm digressing, but anyway, that's pretty much what I've been listening to over the break while knitting away on this, which explains why I got so much done on this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for this to be done and off the needles. It did become a slog because right now we're working with about like 400 plus stitches, and yeah, I'm ready, guys. This is La Mana Como. It is 100% superfine merino DK weight, although I think it errs on the side of fingering. So when I did cast on using the suggested needle size, the fabric that was knitting up was just a little too loosey-goosey for my taste. The pattern calls for a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter, but I downsized to a US 6 4mm size needle, and yeah, it just knit up beautifully. The yarn is Chef's Kiss. Highly recommend this yarn. This yarn is absolutely divine, as I've been describing a lot of yarns that I've been knitting with lately, because yeah, I mean, I don't know, I got great taste, what can I say? Anyway, but yes, this is the yarn in another colorway, which I cannot wait to cast on. But yes, it's La Mana Como, and yeah, 100% superfine merino, super soft, feels like buttered kittens, and oh, yeah. I already know what I'm going to knit with these. There's a pattern called the Cloudburst Mittens by Ariane, let me see, I think Ariana Gray on Ravelry. Anyway, I'll pop all the information in the description box below and a photo of it here. But I've had these on my Ravelry queue for quite some time, and I think these are going to become a pair of Cloudburst fingerless mitts. It just has to happen. But yes, if you can get your mitts on this yarn, I seriously strongly recommend it. I picked this up from yarn.com or Webb's yarn store. Yeah, could easily knit myself a sweater in this yarn. It's delightful. So yeah, here we are, the Calla shawl. I'm hoping to finish binding off at some point today, and then block it, and then get some photos tomorrow, pop it on the gram, and Bob's your uncle. I mean, yeah. In the last episode, I believe I was only just finishing the first Calla motif, but yeah, this basically just flew off my needles. Can we talk about the texture? Look at that waffle. Look at that waffle. I just want to knit all the waffle stitch forever because, yeah. However, it's not without its caveats because I was sitting down listening to audiobooks and just knitting away on this nonstop. I seem to have developed like a tight muscle like right here in my neck, all the way from here down my neck and down to the back of my what do you call it, my shoulder blade in the back, and I've had it for like over a week now, and I can't seem to shake it. I might have to see a chiropractor about this. I might have to see a masseuse. I don't know. Guilty as charged. I should have taken more breaks. I should have done more stretching. But you know, when you're in it, you're in it, and I'm not sorry. No regrets, guys, no regrets, but you know, I probably should have taken more precaution when it came to just sitting and knitting. Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. If you are one of those marathon knitters, do yourself a favor. Just get up, walk around, do some stretches. Your body will thank you. Because right now mine hates me. Anyway, you know, you live and you learn. But at least I have a shawl to show for it. And oh my goodness, guys, I am smitten with this shawl. All right, enough waxing poetic. I will be finishing this tonight, and yeah, we will have a finished shawl to show for by next week. And in case you're wondering, I feel like I keep forgetting to talk about what I'm wearing every episode, but at the top of every episode, because that's when you should talk about this stuff, am I right? Anyway, we're gonna roll with it. But I am currently wearing my Felix pullover, a wonderful pattern by Amy Christophers. I knit this, I want to say 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I don't know. It escapes me. But anyway, easily one of my favorite sweaters that I've ever knit. Straightforward, autopilot knit. Yeah, it's just a top-down raglan with these really simple but effective lace raglan shaping thingamajigs over here. Guys, I'm not technical. Anyway, they're super pretty. I love it. Yeah, it's just very simple, but adds such a really beautiful touch to an otherwise very simple basic sweater. So I will stand up so you can see. And there you go. Ta-da! And I'm wearing stripes. Wearing a stripy dress, I should say. But it goes with everything. And yeah, it's mauve. It's mauve. Although some of you may beg to differ because I've gotten a couple of comments, people saying, it doesn't look mauve, it looks peach or whatever. In my opinion, it falls in the wheelhouse of mauve. The mauve rainbow, if you will. And the yarn is... Believe it or not, I have one more skein left over from this project, and this is yarn that I picked up from when I went to the New England Fiber Festival 3 years ago with my friend Tanya. We went to the New England Fiber Festival and then made a pit stop because, of course, you have to, when you go to Massachusetts, you have to stop by Webb's yarn store, and that's what we did, and that's what I picked up there. And this is Sublime, and this is by Sublime. It's a luxury brand by Sirdar, and it's their Willow base, and it's just so beautiful and so fluffy and lofty and tweedy. And this is their, I believe, hazel colorway. It doesn't say on the thing, but it's shade 650 in the hazel colorway on the website. But yeah, love this color, love this yarn. Maybe I'll make a matchy hat. I don't know. Would I have enough yarn to make a matchy hat out of this. I have no idea. But in case you're wondering about the fiber content, it is 6% nylon, 94% merino wool. So it's got the sturdiness in there. But let me see. Where's your yardage? How many yards are you, my friend? How many yards? 136 yards. I don't know, because I really like slouchy hats. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a slouchy hat out of this. So we may have to settle for mittens, fingerless mitts. We shall see. So yeah, anyway, that is what I'm wearing. Highly recommend the Felix sweater if you're looking for something like this. Anyway, she also has a cardigan. I may do the cardigan version because yeah, love the construction of this, and who doesn't love a good cardigan. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to other dark crafts. And I say that very lovingly because yeah, this is a knitting channel where I talk primarily about knitting, but occasionally, if you've been with me for quite some time, you know that I like to dive down other extraterrestrial rabbit holes when it comes to crafting. So, you know, sometimes it's sewing, sometimes it's crochet, sometimes it's embroidery, cross stitch, weaving. We've done some weaving here. We've done spinning. We've also done some historical garment making. But this time around, my friends, we are diving down the quilting rabbit hole. Hardcore. And the last episode I shared a quilt in progress, and I have since finished said quilt. I posted photos on Instagram. Let me show you the FO. Hang on. Ta-da! It is done, my friends. Yeah, holy cow. I'm beside myself. I cannot believe that I finished a quilt of this magnitude from start to finish. I did everything. I did the binding. I even did the actual quilting on my tiny Janome machine. It can be done. But let me stand up. Yeah, look how big this thing is. It's huge. Here's what it looks like on the reverse side. I used this speckly peach fabric, and to quilt it, let me sit down so you can see my face and talk to a human, right? To quilt it, I did free motion quilting, again on my small Janome. It's a 2212, picked up from Amazon for like $200. Love this machine to death. The possibilities are endless with it, but I managed to do freeform quilting on it using just a meandering, what do you call it? Anyway, it's like a meandering line. It was a labor of love, I'm not gonna lie, but I was listening to my audiobook and I was just able to go on autopilot and just go along with it. You know, it was relaxing, it was very meditative, but at the same time, it did require me wrangling a lot of fabric. So, you know, when one end was going through the machine, I had the other end like up here and just kind of trying to keep things flat on, you know, the machine, but we made it happen. We got it done. In case you're wondering how to do free motion quilting with your machine, your at-home machine, what you want to do is swap out your machine's foot with a free motion quilting foot. They're pretty easy to find on Amazon. Just, you know, make sure that it's compatible with your particular machine. And then you also want to drop the feed dogs on your machine. So, you know, because the feed dogs kind of, as the name suggests, it feeds the fabric through under the foot. So when the feed dogs are dropped, you can easily just move the fabric in any which direction you desire. So really handy. And yeah, you know, again, I'm not going to lie, there are a plethora of mistakes in here. There's some eyelashing happening with some of the quilting in here. There's even some fabric puckering, some folding overs, and goodness, yeah. But you know what? For my first rodeo, I would say that I'm pretty chuffed with myself, and these mistakes don't matter. My cat seems to have adopted this quilt. She just sits on it and, you know, won't give it back to me, so I'm just borrowing it. I'm just borrowing it for her for now. Don't tell her. But yeah, it's just such a cozy little quilt that, you know, I can just curl up with on the sofa. I love the fabric. It's this, in case you're wondering, it's the fabric is by Art Gallery Fabrics in a pattern collection called Her and History, and it just has these really beautiful. Let me show you a close up. Really beautiful prints and textures. It has some ferns in there, some daisies. A little out of my wheelhouse, but you know, I just love the colors, how they play together. I'm just so proud of this quilt, and yeah, it definitely gave me the bug to make another quilt, which yeah, hang on. Yeah. I've been a busy bee, my friends. I have been quite busy. And again, my cat is just completely, any quilt, guys, she just adopts. She just takes over the quilt. This isn't even done yet, but I think this quilt is a little bit, no, it might be the same size. I think it's the same size as the other quilt. It's a square. I think it's about 60 by 60 inches. I could be wrong. I think it's ballpark 60 by 60, but this was a total labor of love, even more so than the other one. The Disappearing 9 block, which is the other quilt, that was a walk in the park. That was a cakewalk, piecing everything together, you know, and cutting things up. This was just a lot. This was very, very involved because the pattern that I chose was an intermediate level pattern. It's called the Kensington Kaleidoscope by knitmoments.com. I'm blanking on her name, but I'll pop all the information in the down bar. I fell in love with this pattern, not only because the designer actually used the same fabric. The fabric that I'm using is by Free Spirit. It's their William Morris pattern collection, which, if you're not familiar, William Morris is just all of his prints I am completely obsessed with. He is known for his Art Nouveau patterns. Just very, you know, very floral, organic lines. And then when I saw that there was a collection based on his prints, I was just like, oh, sign me up, just shut up, take my money, I want to make a quilt out of it. But when it came to searching for a pattern for this fabric, I stumbled on the Kensington Kaleidoscope quilt and fell head over heels in love with it. Even though it's an intermediate pattern, I would almost liken it to advanced, because this was almost my undoing, because in hindsight, it would have been a little bit more manageable had I not pre-washed the fabric. I wanted to do things right, and you know, if you look in, you know, quilting forums and how-to tutorials, they do recommend that you pre-wash your fabric before you actually cut into it and quilt with it. The same thing can be said for sewing garments. You know, you don't want your fabric to warp or distort or, you know, pucker after it's thrown in the wash. Unlike the last quilt that I showed you, I did not pre-wash the fabric, and you can tell that there's a lot of puckering happening in here. But the puckering isn't that bad. It doesn't really bother me at all. Honestly, I feel like it just gives it a more vintagey feel to it, if that makes sense. But, you know, I did want to try pre-washing the fabric, but I learned when you pre-wash fabric, it does warp the fabric, and when you're trying to fussy cut something and do this kaleidoscope technique right here, you know, getting all your prints to line up accurately, you're gonna have a little bit of a tough time, because the fabric kind of warps this way and that way, and the prints don't line up anymore, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so that was a little bit of a headache. So while this quilt wasn't exactly a walk in the park, it was definitely a learning experience for me. I learned so much by just, you know, persevering, getting through it, even though it was kind of like I wanted to tear my hair out at certain points. Anyway, we got the quilt top done. I have it in this nice little quilty sandwich. So, you know, I have my batting here, and then I have the backing, which I also pre-washed. And then I also have these basting pins that are in there. I've got some basting pins right here to hold everything in place. And yeah, next step is quilting, doing the actual free motion quilting. And I haven't decided, I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted to send this out to have it quilted by a long arm, but I don't know, guys. I know I'm capable. I know I'm capable of doing it myself, but you know, I'm looking at my machine over there. But this fabric is like super special to me. I just love it, and I don't want to ruin it. I don't want there to be any mistakes, even though I know there are already mistakes in here. Anyway, I'm thinking out loud right now. I did go ahead and purchase some free motion quilting stencils to help me out. I don't know if you're familiar with these or have ever seen them, but this is called a quilt pounce. So it's like a chalky, they call it a pounce pad. So it's like a chalky, like eraser thing like you see in classrooms or whatever, but you use this, and then you take these stencils, which I purchased these from Connecting Threads. I think they're owned by Knit Picks as well. But these are stencils that you basically lay on top of your quilt, and then you take the pounce pad, the chalk, and just powder it on, and then remove this, and then use the outlines as a guide to quilt your top. I've never used these before. I'm very, very excited. Of course, I'm going to be doing a practice quilt first, a little swatch, before I dive into that. But yeah, I got that one, and then I got these little meandering vines pattern, and then of course we have another meandering line stitch. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to try that out. But again, like with this quilt, I don't know, guys. Should I do it? Should I quilt it myself, or should I send it out to have it quilted by a long arm? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If I do that, I am just gonna have them do the quilting. I'm gonna do the binding myself. That part I want to do just for myself. I want to just hand bind everything in place and make it that much more special. But yeah, anyway, quilting, guys, I am learning to love it so much. I'm obsessed, frankly. Don't tell knitting. No, knitting is my jam. That's my first love. But, you know, quilting, at first when I started doing it, I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I drawn to it? And I started learning about all the history behind quilting, and, you know, I'm just trying to make it click for myself, to figure out what it is about quilting that I want, like, I really, really want to like doing it. But a part of me is like, how many quilts does one need? Like, why would I want to make quilt after quilt after quilt? After these two quilts, I don't know, it's kind of falling into place. Like, I get it now. I get why people love quilting. I get why, I can't describe it. I don't know. It's not so much about, just picking and choosing fun patterns and colors to go together. I would almost liken it to knitting because, yeah, it's like, it's an even more involved process of, you're getting up, you're cutting out your fabric, you're ironing, you're stitching. It's an event, I'm not going to lie. You have to block out a lot of time to, get yourself set up, and you need space, and, it's an event. It's just every little step, it's very meditative. I don't know. I haven't really fleshed out my thoughts and opinions about it, but I get why people love it so much. And yeah, I'm here for it, guys. I'm already thinking about my next quilt. And, I actually stumbled on another YouTube channel. If you watch PBS, you might have stumbled on the Quilty Show. It's hosted by Marianne and her daughter Mary Fons. And Mary Fons, her daughter, actually branched out and started her own YouTube channel. And she's actually primarily on Twitch. And oh my gosh, you guys. She's amazing. I love her. I want to be her best friend. I don't know. She does not watch this channel, but I stumbled on one of her live chats on Twitch, and she broadcasts on Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. I'll put a link down below. Like, I want to say every other day she'll do a live stream that's like 2 to 3 hours long, and she'll just talk quilts. It's called Quilt Nerd. She just picks a topic and sees where it goes and just talks about quilts. That's all she talks about. The history, techniques, prominent people in the quilting world and the history, and I just fell so in love with her channel and her live streams, and yeah, she's just really cool, really, really cool. And I learned so much from her, just hearing her talk about quilts. And if a topic interested me, I would go off and just research it on my own and fall down that rabbit hole. And there was one episode where she talked about crazy quilts, and you guys, crazy quilts, I am here for them. If you're not familiar with what a crazy quilt is, allow me to introduce you to crazy quilts. This is just one book showing you how to do a basic crazy quilt, but it's basically taking scraps of fabric, just whatever you have lying around. You can pick different color combinations and everything, and you just stitch all of these scraps together, and then, shore them up into a single shape like these diamonds, and sew them all together to create one quilt. But the cool thing about crazy quilts is that you can do these really beautiful embellishments, like over here, just sewing over all the seams with embroidery, with beads, with sequins. My mind is blown, guys. I am obsessed. I want to try my hand at crazy quilting so bad, guys. It just seems like a really pretty meditative process. Yeah, And you know, embroidery. Remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I purchased all that embroidery floss. And I was like, I better like embroidery because I don't, you know, I bought a lot of it. Yeah, hadn't touched it since. Yeah, clearly embroidery. I don't know, but throw quilting into the mix, I think we can make something happen. So yeah, crazy quilting is a new obsession, and yeah, I'm here for it, guys. Anyway. Hello. This is a knitting channel with a side of quilting. So yes, it seems I've fallen hard down the quilting rabbit hole. And I hope you guys are here for it. One more knitting related thing to chat with you about, because as I mentioned at the top of the episode, I I just have so many ideas that I want to tackle this year. And over the break, Dennis and I watched this movie called Don't Look Up. You've probably heard of it. It's starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. And in the opening scene, she is wearing a sweater, which I immediately recognized from Target. I was at Target, I saw that hanging on the rack, and I was really thinking about getting it. I'll pop a photo of it here so you know what I'm talking about. The sweater. If you watch this channel, you know, like Kristen, yeah, it's a little bit out of your wheelhouse, isn't it? Because hot pink, do we wear hot pink? No, we never wear hot pink. We don't do that. It's a little too cray-cray for my taste, but you know, nothing wrong with hot pink. I just don't happen to wear it as often. But when I saw the sweater, I was just like, that is a really cool sweater. And I thought about buying it, but the hot pink kind of threw me off. And I was like, no, it's probably never going to get worn, Kristen, just because of that hot pink. But when I saw Jennifer Lawrence rocking it in Don't Look Up, I was just like, I immediately regretted my decision. I was like, I should have bought it, should have got it, because it looked awesome on her, and I totally want one for myself now. So I hopped on Target. I was, you know, anyway, I think it was like about $25 US at Target, but of course it had been a couple of months already, so naturally it was sold out everywhere. And you know, as a knitter, next best thing, let's knit one myself, right? Because we have that superpower, which is pretty freaking awesome. Am I right? So yeah, I got it in my head that I'm going to reverse engineer this pattern. So, you know, I see the sweater on Target. There's a model, she's wearing it, and I'm looking at the motif, and I'm like, that is really easy to figure out. So I took to my Excel spreadsheet and just started making up a little chart. And now I have a chart to work off of, and you know, with the power of, as much as I don't like to admit it, with the power of swatching, we're gonna go there, guys. I'm gonna make a swatch. I'm gonna swatch, do all the mathing, and we're gonna reverse engineer this sweater and make it happen. Bring it to life. And yeah, because you know me, I love a good challenge. So that is what's gonna happen in the coming months. And I do have the yarn, yes, because when you're looking at these things and you have to find the right colors, immediately Knit Picks comes to mind. Not sponsored, just, you know, pulling from my resources. And, you know, knowing that it's a sweater from Target, it's got to be super wash. 9 out of 10, a lot of these sweaters from big box stores, they're machine washable. So, you know, we're going for authenticity here. I wanted to see how close to the original thing I could come. I don't know. This is, again, my own personal brand of crazy. But I did hop on Knit Picks and found yarn that was very, very similar. So, of course, I have a box. Gotta have a box. We have the hot pink. So this is Wool of the Andes, worsted weight, superwash. It's more like a passion fruit hot pink if we're being totally accurate here. So there's that. And then I did purchase black. This is their coal colorway, but after looking at the sample really closely, I decided that it was actually a kind of like dark heathered brown. So I'm still waiting for it to come in the mail, but I did purchase their Bittersweet Heather colorway, which is a very rich, dark, almost like it airs on the side of black, but it's a brown. It's a brown, which I think will kind of tone down the hot pink a lot more, which is why I think I was drawn to the sweater in the first place. The browns and the neutrals definitely kind of tone things down just a little bit. And then I ordered 10 skeins of their Persimmon colorway. So I'm wondering, I think this is okay with my complexion. I don't think it makes me look too garish. I think I can pull it off. It's very autumnal. So anyway, here we go. There's that. There's the hot pink, and where's the black? Then there's that. So I think, you know, if you can imagine this is just a slightly darker brown, I think, you know, we've got a dead ringer here, guys. So yeah, this is their, again, Persimmon Heather, Coal, but we're swapping this out for the Bittersweet, and then we have Rouge. Yay. And then just for shits and giggles, because, you know, again, this is going to be my own, I know I said I'm going for authenticity here, but, you know, part of me does kind of want to embellish just a little bit. So I did get some of their floof. What is this? Their Aloft. It's not floof. It's Aloft, but it's very floofy in their Cosmopolitan colorway. So it is going to have a little floofy element to it. Yeah, I'm going to hold it together with the Rouge. And then I also got their black Aloft, which, yeah, even though I'm going to swap this out for Bittersweet, I feel like a little black hint mixed in with the darker colorway is just gonna, I don't know, just add some more dimension to it, if you will. So anyway, that is the plan. That is my grand plan for the upcoming month. So I haven't started my swatch yet, but once my Calla shawl is off the needles and blocked, we're gonna get busy with the swatching. And yeah, that's what's coming down the pipeline, my friends. So I don't know about you, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited and a little freaked out at the same time because I've never reverse engineered any pattern. I've, you know, obviously come up with my own designs. I've definitely improvised my own sweater patterns in the past, but never like looked at a pre-existing sweater and made a design based off of that, if that makes any sense. So anyway, it's going to be a learning curve for sure, and I would be more than thrilled to have you along for the ride. This is what happens when one does not work for a week and a half and just kind of, you know, I mean, yeah, when I took time off, I'm not gonna lie, there were times where I felt really, really bored. And I think it's really important to embrace those moments when you feel extremely bored and not know what to do with yourself, or, you know, because yeah, when I was feeling like that, I was tempted to just throw myself back into work. I'm like, you know, I could dye a batch of yarn right now, but I was like, no, this is really important. I really just need to not do anything. I need to just sit, I need to knit and let my mind wander and see where it goes and do what it wants to do. And here we are, guys. 2022, I'm, you know, already thinking about reverse engineering a pattern. I mean, yeah, I would never have been able to predict that before the holiday break, honestly. And I know some of you are going to ask down below if I'm going to publish a pattern once I'm done, and the answer is a resounding no. No, it's not going to happen because for obvious copyright reasons and out of respect for the designer, who honestly I don't know who that is. It's really a shame that Target doesn't, or, you know, any of these big box stores for that matter, don't credit the designers. Therefore, I'm just not gonna put out a pattern. But I will be taking construction notes on how I bring this sweater to life. And, you know, obviously I'll have the chart, so I will make those available. And the chart is something that I created just by looking at the pattern itself. So just the sample that the model was wearing on the Target website, just from observing that, I created a chart. And yeah, it's, you know, it may not be 100% accurate. It may not be identical to the one that she's wearing, but you know, I'm going to make it available, so if anyone wants to take a crack at making a sweater for themselves. But anyway, that said, I think I'm going to wrap things up. Wow, this is going to be a very long episode, guys. That's not, typically I like to keep these episodes relatively short, like under 15 minutes, just for my own personal sanity when it comes to editing and, you know, keeping things engaging and not waffling on too much. But anyway, here we are. It's 2022. I'm catching you up on all the things that I got up to, and I just hope you're here for it. Moving update, as I mentioned, end of February, fingers crossed, everything will fall into place and we can just bust out of this joint, because that's what it feels like. No, it's gonna be really bittersweet. We've lived here for I think 6 years now, which is crazy. We've been here in this house for 6 years, maybe more. And I remember taking you guys with me. If you've been with me since I moved in here, wow, thank you for sticking with me for so long. And if you've been with me even longer than that, my goodness, guys, wow, you are amazing. But yeah, there's so many memories in here. So much has happened. So many creations. So many musings in this room, in this house. It's definitely going to be bittersweet leaving it behind. For those of you, I know I get asked this so often, so I may as well just clarify it here because I keep forgetting to. Judgey the cat, our outdoor adopted feral cat. Many of you are wondering what is going to happen to Judgey when we move. Are we taking her with us? Are we leaving her behind? And I am sad to say that we are going to be leaving her behind. I know, I don't want, believe me, if we could take her with, I would do so in a heartbeat. But again, she's a feral cat. She knows this neighborhood like the back of her hand, and you know, she's capable of hunting her own food. we believe me, there's so many times we've caught her with a bird, a mouse. She's a pro, guys. She's very, very capable of, you know, she's very self-sufficient. She's basically mooching off of us. We're just bonus points, basically. And, you know, the food that we give her, you know, generic alley cat food, you know, and she's over it. She's over it. But she does continue to hang out in the backyard, lounge. She still has her little house under the stoop. I did look into it. I did a little research. You know, is it humane to transport a feral cat to another location? And many vets do not recommend it because they're so used to their neighborhood. To remove them from an environment that they're so used to a completely new environment is very dangerous and not humane. Because she's an outdoor cat, she probably wouldn't, at her age, she probably wouldn't be able to survive, you know, or she probably would, but it would just be very dangerous, you know. She knows the scent, she knows other cats in the neighborhood. It might be a different story if we were letting her into our house and she got on with Bella, but it's just not the case. Like those two cannot cross paths. They're just not, they're not acclimated with each other. And, you know, Bella, like they look at each other through the, you know, the screen door, like Bella's on the inside, Judgey's on the outside. And as long as they're in their respective territories, they can keep the peace. But I don't think those two could ever coexist together in the same house. It's just not going to happen. So unfortunately, as much, it's going to be a very tough pill for me to swallow, but we're going to leave her here because we know it's best for her. But trust me when I say she's in good hands. She definitely hangs out at our neighbor's place. You know, they definitely let her just kind of, you know, hang out there in their yard. She has her boyfriend Romeo who comes by our place frequently, so she's got her thing going. And I am gonna leave a note for our home buyers so they know to be aware of her. You know, I'm just gonna say there's a really sweet cat in our backyard, means no harm, just likes to hang out and chill. You can feed her if you want to. You don't have to, but, you know, anyway, she's going to be okay. You know, there was a day when Dennis and I were walking on the street and we saw Judgey just walking around, minding her own business, and we're like, Judgey. She looked at us, recognized us, and just kept walking. So, you know, the nerve, honestly. But anyway, I think she's going to be okay. So I know that's not the answer many of you want to hear, but I think for her sake, you know, to do what's best for her, it's best to let her stay. Let her stay in the neighborhood she knows. And yeah, I'm going to miss her dearly. I really am, but I think it's for the best. So I hope that answers your question, your burning question, because everyone, I swear, like every day I get an email, I get a DM, I get a comment or something from somebody wanting to know, what about Judgey? What's going to happen to Judgey? Judgey's going to be fine. Anyway, that said, my goodness, this is going to be a long episode. Anyway, I'm going to end things there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for being a subscriber of this channel. If you're a member, Happy New Year, happy 2022. Here's wishing you a happy, healthy, safe one. I know it's been difficult these past couple of months, weeks, year, I don't know. Where are we? What day is it? I have no idea. Anyway, I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. And until the next video, happy knitting, happy making, and I'll see you next time. Bye.